Mastering Gravity. This is part 3 in this module. So what is the problem? Why is mobility such a problem with advancing age? Why is it hard to float, glide, and effortlessly move in the gravitational field of the Earth? Many people over 60 cannot move their bodies anywhere close to like they could when they were younger, like running, jumping, skipping, flipping, dancing, skiing, skating, playing hard in general. Even basic motor functions such as walking, climbing stairs, shopping, driving, dressing, bathing, traveling become more difficult with a lot of people as they get in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Let's talk about ways that we can reverse this. And there are many cases of people who have been able to reverse all these signs of aging related to bad posture and humping forward and forward neck and humped over back. I'm going to go through 5 things. We're going to talk about why sitting is the new smoking, why it's so bad, how to move more. I mean, most people know we need to exercise and move more, but I'm going to give you 3 specific type of movements that I think are really the most important. Posture, how to improve your posture. We're going to look at PEMF, how it works with your overall structure and mobility. And then we're going to put it all together with some of the things we've learned in the other modules. Sitting is the new smoking. In a nutshell, we need to learn to avoid sitting for long periods of time without taking a break. Sitting can be a nice break from a busy day, but considering most people work in an office and then go home and sit down for TV or in front of their computer, sit down for dinner, etc., that's just way, way too much sitting. And you probably think that this has a bad effect on your body, and it does. Listen to this. The World Health Organization now lists inactivity as the 4th biggest killer of adults on planet Earth. It's responsible for 9% of premature deaths. As soon as you sit down, the electrical activity in your muscles drops significantly, and your calorie burning rate drops to about 1 calorie a minute. After 3 hours of sitting, there's a 50% drop in artery dilation, and it's a result of a decrease in blood flow. We talk about microcirculation with PEMF, but if you're sitting all day long, I mean, yes, PEMF will help, but certainly we need to get up and take measures to not be sitting so long. Research done by Dr. Joan Vernikos, former director of NASA's Life Sciences Division, and one of the primary doctors assigned to keeping astronauts from deteriorating in space, so she knows all about this. And she's got a book that's called Sitting Kills, Moving Heals. That's the name of the book. She shows basically that your body actually needs to perpetually interact with gravity through motion in order to function optimally. Hence, you can see why gravity is literally the 6th element of health, along with food, water, natural sunlight, oxygen, PEMF, or the natural magnetic fields of the Earth. Gravity is the 6th element. I want to look at 3 studies that really drive this point home as far as why sitting is the new smoking. In one study, study number 1 here, followed more than 123,000 U.S. men and women for 14 years, researchers found, not surprisingly, that those who exercised more had a lower risk of death than those who exercised less. But when the scientists looked at the group of people who did the most exercise, they just put all the other people aside, and they just looked at the people that did the most exercise, those who sat for 6 or more hours a day suffered a significantly higher risk of premature death than those who sat for fewer than 3 hours daily. And again, both of these groups are exercising about the same. The bottom line from this study, while a 30-minute aerobic workout every day is great for you, it does not make up for sitting the next 8 hours in your desk chair. Okay, in the next study, study number 2, followed nearly 241,000 adult Americans aged 50 to 71, and scientists found among those who exercised regularly, about an hour a day, high amounts of TV viewing, that is about 7 hours daily or more, and that includes sitting too, was associated with an increased risk of death compared with regular exercisers who watch TV 1 hour a day or less. In fact, a growing body of evidence suggests that sitting in and of itself is an independent risk factor for poor health and premature death, even if you exercise regularly. Researchers have dubbed this phenomenon the active couch potato effect. That is, people exercise an hour a day but still spend 6, 7, 8, 9 or more hours sitting down. The third study kind of shows a solution to this. And what it shows is that by simply standing up 35 times a day or so, which is about every 10 to 15 minutes while you're working or sitting down, will counteract the cardiovascular health risks associated with uninterrupted sitting. You just have to keep standing up. even if you do sit for long periods of time, here's a solution. Talking about solutions, let's now talk about strategies for sitting less. Please do take notes on this. Strategy number 1, try to sit for no more than 4 hours a day total. If this is not possible, like I just said, set a little timer. I got a little tomato timer, like a kitchen timer. Just set it for 10 or 15 minutes and just make sure you stand up. And you can do a little stretch or whatever, but the key is just the standing up. I know that sounds simple, but the research supports this. But better yet, try to sit for less than 4 hours a day if you can. The next tip is use a sit-stand desk if you have an office job and try to stand more. The next tip is walk more. We're going to talk about this in the next part on movement. The next tip is get in the habit of standing while texting and talking. And finally, minimize TV and computer time as much as you can, because the average American is spending 8 hours a day plus of screen time. That is computers, video games, television, put it all together. It's more than 8 hours a day for the average American. And get up earlier in the morning. I almost want to do a whole video on this idea, but most of us get in trouble with the late night hours. That's when we're pretty much getting nothing done. So when you get up earlier, you tend to get more accomplished during the day, and there's not as many of those couch potato hours left in the evening, basically sitting around and living that unhealthy sedentary lifestyle. The next section after sitting less, you need to move more. Now, walking more. This is the easiest one and probably one of the best things you can do is try to focus on getting a minimum of 6,000 steps a day, ideally 7,000 to 8,000. That's going to be about an hour to an hour and a half of walking a day. And you can break this up into multiple walks. You can certainly include if you go to the mall or the store. And if you get a pedometer, it'll measure your steps. The next thing is working out and strength training. What's the difference between strength training and bodybuilding? Well, there's a lot of a difference. We are shooting for usable muscle for activities of daily living to keep up our circulation, our bones strong, and increasing the mitochondria in our cells. The next thing which goes along with strength training is whole body vibration. And this is something I'm a really big fan of. I do it myself every day. Basically, what it does is it gives you an increased G-force. So I like to call it acceleration training or G-force training because you're getting like an extra supplement of gravity. It's like a gravity supplement. What's nice about it is just 10 minutes a day gives you the equivalent of an hour's worth of exercise. And this is based on a 12-week study that was published in Medicine and Science and Sports back in 2003. There's also research to show that whole body vibration will increase HGH by up to 361%, testosterone and sex hormones by 7%, and reduces cortisol by 30%, which is your stress hormone. That's fantastic benefits for just 10 minutes a day. Another thing that it does that regular exercise doesn't do is that you're getting 97% muscle recruitment versus 45% with standard exercise. And that's because you're vibrating your muscles upwards to 1,500 times a minute, and that includes the involuntary muscles with whole body vibration. See, when you work out with weights, you're really just using your skeletal muscles to lift the weights. You're not working out the muscles on the inside of your colon or the inside of your veins or all these involuntary muscles which you can't work out with weights and even Nautilus. There's so many benefits to whole body vibration. Check out my site, noblerex.com. This is the machine I recommend and use. And I got tons of research and testimonials that I've collected. You can just see why I'm also very passionate about this along with PEMF therapy. And that's noblerex.com, noblerex.com. So number 3, the next point after movement is good posture, sitting, standing, and sleeping especially. So what causes bad posture? Well, weight issues. If you got weight issues, that can take its toll on your back. Accidents or injuries, poor lumbar support while you're sitting or lifting, pillows that are too high, beds that are too soft, hunching over to your iPhone, smart pad, or hunching forward like the turtle head to the computer screen, stress, low self-esteem, poor muscle tone, inactivity, lack of exercise. So a lot of causes for bad posture. But the main thing, again, just keep the idea of being vertical in alignment with gravity, using good posture, beds, chairs, and standing more and sitting less and moving your body and exercising. And again, when you exercise and lose weight, that takes a lot of that and overcomes the stress and low self-esteem as well. Now, the harmful effects of poor posture over time will cause bad circulation, which taxes your cardiovascular system, poor breathing, vertebrae deteriorate. You get herniated discs and all kinds of problems with your spine, especially low back and the neck area. And subluxations, just your vertebrae get out of alignment, and that affects all your organs. Standing, to have good posture while standing, you want your knees slightly bent and wearing good shoes. But again, it's really just about staying in that vertical position. Standing tall with the shoulders back but relaxed. Same thing with sitting. The one thing with sitting is do try to keep your knees slightly lower than the hips and keep your feet flat on the ground. Don't cross them in front of you. Sleeping, it goes without saying, sleeping can be a big problem if you're not sleeping with a good mattress. So a nice firm mattress that gives you good support. Sleep on your side with a pillow between the legs. And again, use good pillows. And don't stack your pillows if you sleep on your back. Okay, so good posture is important. So now let's get into yoga. I'm not going to get into detail on this, but I just want to show you this example of a lady, Ann Pesky. And she's an 86-year-old lady. And I just want to show you her before and after picture because this all happened just a few months with a one-on-one yoga trainer. It just shows you the power of yoga to straighten out your back, to get your flexibility back. And please do some research and investigate. I might do a separate module at some time on yoga, but I highly recommend doing yoga classes a few times a week. Now, PEMF therapy also will help with your structure mobility. As we've talked about, PEMF improves microcirculation, helps with inflammation and pain relief, improves flexibility. We do a little flexibility test with people where they bend down to reach their toes. And after an 8-minute PEMF session, they can reach down further. That added flexibility, again, is helping your overall musculoskeletal system to be more flexible and mobile. PEMF will help to heal and regenerate. It increases stem cells, it improves ATP production, detoxification. And again, it's just a great preventative measure. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. And please do put into practice these principles I've talked about in this last section. In the next module, module number 8, we're going to go over the mind and the emotions and the power of positive psychology and some heart math techniques for emotional coherence. So stay tuned for that because this is one of the most important modules for health and well-being.